Next story, yesterday, President Biden convened the first meeting of his interagency task force on reproductive health care access, which he had established last month through an executive order. And from that have come several other executive orders that he says, among other things, will help women travel out of state for abortions if abortion is banned in their home state. How important is this new executive order? With me now to talk about it is Connor Semelsberger. He's FRC's Director of Federal Affairs for Life and Human Dignity. Connor, good to see you today.
Again, great to be on with you.
Tell us about this EO. How concerned should we be about this?
Yeah, so as you mentioned, this is the second of Biden's executive orders to promote abortion using federal laws and federal funds. And I think looking at the details of this one, there is some weight behind it. And we should be highly concerned with the actions of this administration to radically promote abortion in our country. And this one was very targeted, very designed to look at how they can get around the Hyde Amendment to pay for travel for abortion, to go after any physicians that may have conscience objections to performing abortions, and even looking into how maternal health data is collected so that can show parity that abortion restrictions actually harm women. That's what this is designed to do. It's politics in the making, and it's something we should be highly concerned about.
Now, Connor, you mentioned there the Hyde Amendment, and of course that's the federal statute that prohibits the use of federal funds to be used for abortion. But of course, the argument here from the White House is we're not using this for abortion. We're using this to pay for people to travel so then they can get abortion, presumably paid by not federal funding. Have they done so successfully with this EO? Do you expect any kind of legal challenge on the Hyde Amendment basis?
Yeah, so as you mentioned, Hyde Amendment, it's now been in place since 1976. It's taken some different iterations, but the main text has been essentially the same, that Health and Human Services funds should not be used to pay for abortion except for those few rare cases. Now, it's never been, this is a legal question that the Biden administration is venturing out into the breach to decide, hey, we think this actually allows us to pay for the travel, if not for the service itself. Well, that's never been the case, and it's a newfound legal theory that they're testing that the court should very quickly strike down because it completely violates the intent of the law. If at the end of the day, the travel is then still allowing women to get the abortion, the intent behind it is that these tax dollars will not be going to pay for the abortions or even facilitate women getting abortion with these funds. But as you mentioned, we would expect a legal challenge on it. I would think there's a strong case, very strong legal case, that was never the intent of this amendment, and that would sort of be reading into this text something that was never there. And so I'm sure there will be strong legal challenge against it, and we would just hope and pray that the legal battle would land in our favor, that this is way over beyond the reach of what the amendment says.
Now, Connor, of course, the White House has had a developed response to the reversal of Roe versus Wade. They assembled a task force to try to figure out what the White House can do to make abortion as available as possible in a post-Roe world. In addition to this executive order allowing travel, paying for travel, I should say, to get an abortion, what else is the White House planning?
Yeah, they are pulling every lever that they can. They are not leaving a stone unturned to use the force of the executive branch of the government to promote abortion in our country. And it's really in response because the pro-life laws across the states are one by one coming online, coming into effect, and showing success that states actually can protect both women and their children in the womb. And so the Biden administration feels threatened, and they are on the attack. They're looking to pay for travel, as you mentioned. And again, they're now going to try to skirt around other federal laws, something we call the Weldon Amendment, that protects the conscience of healthcare providers to not perform abortions. They want to now claim that it would be sex discrimination for a physician to not perform an abortion because they have a moral or conscious objection. So they are going after everyone and anyone, even so far as to sue the state of Idaho over such a nuanced phrasing of their life of the mother exception in their text, which just smells politics because Idaho's law is very sound in that it does allow for exceptions for the life of the mother, but yet they're throwing everything they can at the wall to see what will stick.
Connor, to my knowledge, this idea of the federal government and Medicaid, which of course is a health care provider, something of a federal insurance program, paying for travel seems unusual. Is there precedent for this where they cover travel expenses for healthcare services? alleged?
Yeah, so it does happen, but it's rare, right? So say you live in a state that you're on Medicaid and there's a certain specialized procedure that your state just doesn't offer. There's not a hospital. Then there may be payment for travel to go out of state to get that rare procedure. It could be a cancer treatment or something else. But that's very rare. And like you said, it's not a common practice that travel is covered by this federal program, but it has happened before. But never would we think that we would pay for travel something beyond that the Medicaid even covers. Medicaid only pays for abortions in the case of life of the mother, rape, and incest. So the fact that they want to push the limits beyond to now pay for travel, something that this own health program doesn't even cover, is just a step too far.
Connor, any indication of what might happen if a woman got her travel expenses covered and then changed her mind and decided not to get an abortion?
Yeah, I mean, that's the kind of questions that this arises, right? So, someone goes to state of California where they're ready and willing at the border to bring you into their state to do an abortion, and someone changes their mind. And now at that same point, taxpayers were on the hook through Medicaid to pay for that travel. It just opens up a whole can of worms that I don't know that the administration has even thought through fully themselves. But they are feeling tons of pressure from the abortion advocates that elected Joe Biden to be here for this moment to promote abortion if Roe v. Wade was overturned. And so they are expecting a lot. You're seeing it from the Democrat members of Congress with their votes. You're seeing it from the grassroots. And so they are wanting the Biden administration to push things that aren't even legally tested and founded. And they might actually have the price to pay that these sort of things not just fall flat, but then backtrack the authority that the administration has to promote these abortion causes.
Connor, in about 30 seconds, is there going to be a congressional response to this?
We sure hope so. We already have a bill Buddy Carter's got ready to go to make sure that this does not happen.
We look forward to tracking that. And Connor Semelsberger, as always, we are super grateful for your time today. Thanks so much.